It's a drop-dead gorgeous place.
On February 13, 2017, the small town of Delphi, Indiana changed forever. What started as an ordinary afternoon for two teenage girls became one of the most haunting true crime mysteries in modern American history. Abby Williams and Libby German set out to enjoy a walk along the Monon High Bridge, a popular trail known for its rustic beauty and abandoned railroad tracks. It was a day off from school, and the two best friends wanted to explore the outdoors. But by evening, when they failed to return, their families knew something was wrong. The discovery that followed would not only devastate their community, but also ignite a national manhunt, one that would take years to unravel. Abby was 13, Libby was 14. Both were described as bright, caring, and inseparable. They had plans for the future and shared the kind of close friendship that feels unbreakable in adolescence. That morning, Libby's older sister dropped them off near the trail entrance. The girls laughed, chatted, and walked toward the bridge. Libby, a budding photographer with an eye for capturing moments, carried her phone with her. Neither she nor Abby could have known that her decision to press record would later become the most crucial evidence in one of the darkest murder cases in Indiana history. When the girls did not show up at the designated pickup point, their families grew anxious. By evening, search parties spread out across the trail, calling their names into the fading light. The following day, their worst fears were confirmed. Abby and Libby's bodies were found in a wooded area just off the trail, near Deer Creek. The crime was brutal, shocking in its violence, and terrifying in its brazenness. It was not only a loss for their families, but also a shattering blow to the entire town of Delphi. From the very start, investigators faced immense pressure. Yet almost immediately, they had something extraordinary, a recording captured by Libby on her phone. Police later revealed that Libby had the presence of mind to hit record when she and Abby encountered a strange man on the bridge. That decision turned her into a hero. In the clip, the man is seen walking toward them, dressed in jeans, a jacket, and a cap. His voice can be heard instructing the girls, "Down the hill." These three chilling words would echo across the investigation, becoming a grim reminder of the moment everything changed. The release of that audio and the still images from the video set the internet ablaze. People across the nation studied the blurry photos, analyzing the man's stance, his clothing, even the way he walked. Amateur sleuths flooded online forums with theories, and tips poured into police hotlines. But despite the flood of attention, the suspect remained at large. Detectives described him as a white male, likely between 18 and 40 years old, stocky in build, and believed to be local or familiar with the area. Still, the case grew colder with each passing month. Years dragged on, and the pain in Delphi only deepened. Vigils were held. The high school football team dedicated games to the girls, and the community kept their memories alive with memorials and scholarships. The phrase, "Justice for Abby and Libby," became a rallying cry. But the question loomed endlessly: who was the man on the bridge, and why had he taken two innocent lives in such a cruel and calculated way? The investigation was massive. Detectives followed thousands of leads, interviewed potential suspects, and even explored connections to other crimes. At one point, attention focused on a man named Daniel Nations, a registered offender in Colorado with a troubling criminal history. His resemblance to the composite sketch released by police raised suspicions, but ultimately, he was ruled out. Another wave of theories suggested possible links to unsolved murders in other states, but those too led nowhere definitive. Then, in 2019, investigators did something unexpected. They released a second composite sketch of the suspect, dramatically different from the first. While the original sketch showed an older man with a stockier face, the second depicted someone much younger, perhaps in his 20s. Police explained that the second sketch was based on eyewitness accounts from the day of the murders and represented the suspect they now believed was most accurate. This sudden shift confused the public but also renewed hope. Somewhere out there, the man in those sketches was still walking free. The weight of the case grew heavier with time. Families of Abby and Libby lived each day with the unbearable knowledge that their killer had not been caught. For investigators, it was one of the most challenging cases of their careers. Yet they never gave up. They kept circling back to the evidence, re-examining old tips, and holding press conferences that reminded the killer he was still being hunted. In one emotional statement, police looked directly into the cameras and told the suspect, "We believe you are hiding in plain sight." In October 2022, after more than 5 years of unanswered questions, there was finally a breakthrough. Police announced the arrest of Richard Allen, a Delphi resident who worked at a local CVS pharmacy. He was 50 years old, a man who lived quietly in the community and had no obvious criminal record. For many, the shock was overwhelming. Could it really be that the killer had been living among them the entire time, blending in with the town, shopping at the same stores, and even interacting with families of the victims? The case against Richard Allen began to take shape. According to court documents, investigators tied him to the crime scene through ballistic evidence. A bullet found near the girls' bodies was linked to a gun registered to Allen. Furthermore, witnesses placed him on the trail that day. Even more chilling, Allen himself had reportedly admitted to police back in 2017 that he had been on the bridge around the time of the murders. Yet somehow, that statement had not raised enough alarms at the time. For years, he had continued to live undetected, hiding in plain sight exactly as detectives had warned. The arrest was monumental, but it was not the end. Legal battles quickly erupted over what evidence could be presented, whether Allen acted alone, and if others might have been involved. Defense attorneys pushed back, claiming weaknesses in the prosecution's case. Still, for the families of Abby and Libby, the arrest was a moment of long-awaited hope. It meant there was finally a face, finally a name, and finally a path toward justice. The tragedy of Abby and Libby's murders is not just about one horrific day in 2017. It is about the years of fear, grief, and unanswered questions that followed. It is about a community that refused to give up, parents who fought tirelessly for answers, and investigators who carried the burden of a case that seemed unsolvable. And above all, it is about two teenage girls whose bravery in their final moments ensured their killer would one day be caught. Without Libby's decision to record that chilling footage, the case might still be at a standstill. Her courage turned her into the voice that spoke even after she was gone. This case also raises deeper questions about justice and safety in small-town America. Delphi was not a city plagued by crime. It was the kind of place where people trusted each other, where kids played freely, and where violence seemed distant. The murders shattered that illusion, reminding everyone that evil can appear anywhere, even in the most ordinary settings. It forced people to rethink their assumptions about safety, trust, and vigilance. The upcoming trial of Richard Allen will undoubtedly bring more details to light. The girls on the High Bridge may have walked into danger that February day, but their bravery ensured that their killer would not escape forever. And as this case continues to unfold, their memory will guide every step toward justice.